Pecan Lodge is one of the most notable barbecue restaurants in Dallas. However, it's right near the legendary Terry Black's barbecue and comparisons are inevitable. I enjoyed my meal at Terry Black's, but I wanted to see if Pecan Lodge was better. Today I'm here in downtown Dallas at the beautiful Main Street Garden Park, but earlier in the day I had an absolutely incredible lunch at one of the city's most notable barbecue restaurants, Pecan Lodge. Pecan Lodge, along with Terry Black's, are probably the two most famous and popular and some of the most well-regarded barbecue spots in all of Dallas. Now, I've already been to Terry Black's and absolutely loved it, but I had to give Pecan Lodge a try, and Pecan Lodge isn't that far from Terry Black's. There's also no question that Terry Black's and Pecan Lodge are the two most touristy barbecue restaurants in Dallas, but they're touristy for a reason. If I did have more time in Dallas, I would definitely go out and try some more of the other barbecue spots, but I'm at least glad that I got to go to two really amazing ones. This is my lunch at Pecan Lodge. Pecan Lodge is located in the Deep Ellum neighborhood of Dallas and is only a few blocks away from Terry Black's. It was in 2010 that Pecan Lodge was founded from the husband and wife team of Justin and Diane Fortin. The name of the restaurant stems from Justin's grandfather's ranch in Abilene, Texas. Pecan Lodge started off casually as Justin and Diane were transitioning from their corporate jobs and started serving barbecue from a small stand at the Dallas Farmers Market. People began lining up for their food and the praise started rolling in. Eventually, the restaurant made the move to the present-day Deep Ellum location. I arrived at Pecan Lodge for lunch on a weekday right when it opened at 11 o'clock. Inside, it's a sizable restaurant, and while there weren't many customers at first, it quickly filled up. In terms of the atmosphere, Terry Black's has Pecan Lodge beat, but to me, that's a small detail and it always comes down to the food. Pecan Lodge serves most of the typical barbecue staples, but they also offer giant beef ribs, a delicious sounding baked potato called the hot mess, and fried chicken.
Oh, hell yeah, I am so happy.
I decided to get the 3 meat and 1 side combo plate as it seemed like an affordable way to sample a number of items. In addition, I also added a jalapeno cheddar sausage link to my lunch. In total, my bill came to $33.02, which I thought was a hell of a deal for the amount of food I got. Plus, compared to Terry Black's, it was nearly half of what I paid there, which ended up costing me $60.61. To be fair, however, I did get a beer at Terry Black's while I stuck with just water at Pecan Lodge. Not to mention, my lunch at Terry Black's was a bit more substantial with pricier meats. However, when it comes to value, I felt that I got more for my money at Pecan Lodge. Finally, it was time to give everything a try, and I started with the brisket. It's one of those meats which I feel can be either absolutely amazing or dry and sad with little middle ground. Fortunately, the brisket before me was incredible. The meat was just so juicy and flavorful. There was a good smoke on the beef, and it also had a delicious bark. Overall, I enjoyed the brisket at Pecan Lodge far more than the brisket at Terry Black's. However, to be fair, I felt that I was a bit unlucky with the brisket at Terry Black's. Now, I still thought that it was good, but it could have been a bit better, especially when the restaurant has a big sign in their establishment proclaiming that brisket is king. Unfortunately, barbecue restaurants are some of the most inconsistent restaurants when it comes to the quality of their food. Sadly, I experienced a bit of this inconsistency when I tried the next meat on my platter, the pulled pork. Luckily, the pork did have good flavor and a nice smoke, but unfortunately, it was a little dry. Although it was still enjoyable to eat, and it was one of the meats on my tray that really benefited later when I added some barbecue sauce. Next, I tried the turkey, and it was fantastic. The meat had a ton of flavor and was very juicy. If Pecan Lodge's turkey were served at Thanksgiving, it would hands down be everyone's favorite holiday. No doubt about it, the turkey was top notch. Next up, I gave the jalapeno cheddar sausage a try. It was definitely a good sausage with a nice flavor and texture along with a bit of spice. However, I thought it could have used a little more cheese. There were points in the sausage that I felt like I was just consuming cheddar molecules because the amount of cheese was just so minuscule. Still, it was a good sausage, but when it's called a jalapeno cheddar sausage, I expect a bit more cheese. Fortunately, my side of the mac and cheese more than made up for what the sausage was lacking. There's no question that that was a good side that was even enhanced with bits of bacon. However, I believe that Terry Black's had the superior mac and cheese. Now, you would think that Pecan Lodge would have the advantage in this area since their dish contains the magical ingredient of bacon. To me though, the flavor and texture of the pasta was just better at Terry Black's. But like I said, I still enjoyed the mac and cheese at Pecan Lodge. Along with the meat and side on my platter were some pickles. I really welcomed the acidic taste while consuming so much meat. The pickles proved to be a nice flavor contrast. I was definitely eating a big lunch. In fact, I was actually given a toothpick while I was eating. Yeah, there was quite the variety of meat stuck between my teeth, which would certainly make flossing more of a culinary adventure later when I would somewhat get to relive my lunch. On every table are two different types of barbecue sauce. One is the sort of standard tomato-based sauce, which I really enjoyed. It had a good flavor and consistency and complemented the meat well, especially the pulled pork, which needed that extra bit of help since it was a little dry. The other sauce was a spicy one, which I wasn't much of a fan of. Now, I love a bit of heat, but I felt that the spicy sauce overwhelmed the flavor of the meat. Plus, the consistency was just a bit too watery, so I stuck with the standard barbecue sauce. Overall, I had a great lunch at Pecan Lodge and I loved the variety of food that I had. Now, I wish I could have gotten one of those massive beef ribs, but since it was my first time, I wanted to try a variety of food rather than just one dish. Regardless, I was stuffed, satisfied, and very happy. Well, that certainly lived up to the hype. I absolutely loved my lunch at Pecan Lodge. There's no question that the brisket was the star of the show, but I pretty much loved everything I ate. It was very good. That was absolutely some of the best barbecue that I've ever had. But was it better than Terry Black's? Now, there were definitely things at Pecan Lodge that I did enjoy more than Terry Black's, but at the same time, there was stuff at Terry Black's that I enjoyed more than at Pecan Lodge. In regards to the brisket, Pecan Lodge's meat was far superior. It was just juicier, had more flavor, had a better bark. It was so damn good. However, I'm also aware that barbecue restaurants are not always the most consistent restaurants, and while I did enjoy the brisket at Terry Black's, I felt that maybe if I went on another day, it might even be better. Like the pulled pork I had at Pecan Lodge. It was good, it had solid flavor, but it was a little dry. Perhaps if I went later in the day or even the next day, it would be even better. To truly be fair to both restaurants, I feel like I'd have to go to each of them multiple times and get the same dish multiple times to get a real fair assessment. Now, one thing that I don't need to make multiple visits for is to get a gauge of the prices, and it's pretty clear that Pecan Lodge is, for the most part, a better deal than Terry Black's. I mean, I almost spent half as much on my lunch at Pecan Lodge compared to Terry Black's. Now, I did get a bit more food at Terry Black's and I did get a beverage, but still, the price difference is pretty apparent. But at the end of the day, I really enjoyed both restaurants. They are both worth making a journey to. Today, I absolutely loved my lunch at Pecan Lodge, and the next time I'm in Dallas, I'll definitely be returning to Pecan Lodge. But now, I gotta start heading back to New York City, and boy, did I eat a lot of meat on this trip, which I'm not complaining about. It's my favorite thing, but damn, I think I'm gonna have a salad once I get back to NYC.